Hello, everyone. It is, um, sorry, I was adjusting the volume here. I am Christina Taylor, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I know I normally am on camera, but I just thought I'd start with my desktop today. I woke up this morning with the intent on recording a video and seemed to have a little bit of a scratchy throat. So I'm going to try to get through recording this so that it will take you through these projects that we're doing in today's class. I've got some hot tea um, that my daughter so lovingly brought me. It's a ginger honey citrus mint tea. She said she gets that when she's not feeling the greatest. And I woke up with this and I was like, what's going on with my voice? So that was super sweet of Cecily. She brought that over to me. And so I'm enjoying that. So I've got that. I've got some water and I've got a couple cough drops on hand too. So hopefully I won't get too coughing here. Excuse me too much. All right. So today we are doing the class. It's a craft along class for the Heartfelt Hugs and Cozy Folds for this the January class offering. And I just came up with the Cozy Folds because they're all kind of different. Not your traditional like fun fold with a lot of accordion type things. They just all have a little bit of a unique fold to them. This one is actually a project, a different one. So these are the four we're going to be making in the class, and I'm going to take you through how to do those. So let me just set these aside. Okay. So I wanted to share with you a couple things before I get started stamping. So as I've shared with you before, Stampin' Up! Is now doing a product of the month. And I don't know, I think this is the one with him. So the product of the month for December was the True Blue Florals. Yeah, True Blue Florals. I want to make sure I'm getting the name right. It's a package of designer series paper, and it has these patterns here. Now, this is all I have left of the one because I used it in one of the projects for the class. So this will give you an idea. That's 6 patterns there. And then I will flip this over so you can see the other 5, and then that's the back side of that one. So this is a beautiful pack of designer series paper, which would normally be $12.50. But you can get it as the product of the month. And last I checked, it was actually still available. It was December's product of the month. And this is January's product of the month. So mine just arrived yesterday, actually. And it's a stamp set, fabulous sayings. I love the 2 different fonts in this one and the versatility of the sentiment. So you can get this for $5 if your order reaches 75. So how it works is you have to have an online account with Stampin' Up! For your rewards, and you have to opt in for rewards. That's important when you're setting up that online account is that you opt in for rewards. So if you did not shop in December and earn the product of the month in December, as you're shopping in your online account, you're going to have a little accumulator at the top. And once you reach the $75 before shipping and tax, you're going to unlock that product of the month. And you click on that and it will allow you to shop. And if this paper is still available, it will give you the option to choose this, or you can choose the January product of the month. They are while supplies last, so once they're gone, they're gone. And you can't get more than one. So once you get this paper, you can't get another one unless, of course, you have another online account. So that's a whole other thing of just creating an additional online account. Totally up to you. But so these are both bonus products that are unlocked at the $75 mark. And then for the month of January, Stampin' Up! Is offering the bonus bucks. So how that works is for every $50 purchase, you can get a $5 coupon that you can spend in February and apply that towards anything. So there's kind of a couple different fun promotions going on for the month of January. So I just wanted to mention that. And here's another project. This is a project that I made with that designer series paper. Okay, I had to get a drink of tea. All right. You know what? I don't even know if I said who I was. I mean, I know that if you're watching this, you know it's me, Christina Taylor, but if I did, well, then I'm just going to blame it on the fogginess of my mind this morning since I woke up. But I am Christina Taylor. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from North Canton, Ohio. And I'm coming to you today with this Craft Along Heartfelt Hugs and Cozy Folds class. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me bring these products in. I'm using. And I've tried to do some of the prep work so that way the craft along portion will go a little smoother, a little quicker, maybe less talking for me. So again, I apologize for my voice. Okay, this first project that we're making here is this fun fold that we're using a large label. Okay. So this one folds up like this, folds down like that. So you've got writing surface here. And I did that so that if you're writing, so that you're not writing up here and it kind of takes away from the layout of your card. So you would intend to like start your message like midway where this is going to cover it. And then you can continue it down here. I put an extra flap in there for you. So on this project, and I don't know if you can tell, I don't know if it picks it up there. There's a little shimmer on those little stems there. That's a little wink of Stella. So I will just set this. I'll try to set it so it's in the shot there a little bit. And just so you know, when you're, I'll come back to this, you can leave the card just like this, or if you want it to be all tucked in and not popped up there, you could just tuck your little fun fold part with the label on there, just tuck it behind the ribbon. So either way. All right, so what we're using on this project, I'm using the Friendly Foliage stamp set and dies. So let's see, I need to clear something on my screen there so I could see. So this was an online exclusive. I think it came out in November. So I've really enjoyed using this stamp set and dies. And as you can see, it cuts out this foliage piece, this one here, and then this one cuts out all the details to give you this piece that we've got for our class. And then you've got some nice sentiments in this stamp set and then some extra pieces. Okay, set those aside. We're using Balmy Blue ink. Let me go ahead and open that up and just set that aside here. We've got a Balmy Blue ombre ribbon. This was on the last chance list. So if you want to pop over there and check and see if it's still available, you can snag it for like, I think it was like $3 or $4. Super great deal. It's last chance list is always a great spot to look for bargains. Then we're using the Nested Essentials, guys. So you've got a series of banners, some rounded rectangles, and then this nice shape here, which I left the one we're actually using. Hang on. I left it over on my other table where I was cutting. So we're actually using the largest of this particular die out of this set. And I think that is it as far as supplies. So let me share with you what we've got for our paper supplies. Okay, so we've got a piece of what started off as a piece of balmy blue that was 5.5 by 8.5. I cut off 2 inches, so that would take this down to like 6.5 then. But I cut it off at the I cut it off after I had cut the cardstock, so 5.5 by 8.5. And I went ahead and scored it at 4.25, so I would get my fold reference line there. And then I cut off the 2 inches off of this. So for me, that's how the process worked. If you prefer cutting it 6.5 by 5.5 and then scoring it at 4.25, totally up to you. but that's what worked best for me. I've got my bone folder. Oh, hasn't been since so before the holidays when I did my last video, so everything is not where it needed to be. So I'm gonna flatten that fold with my bone folder. Then I've got a piece of basic white that is 4 by 5 1/4. Another piece of basic white that's 2 by 5 1/4. I've got a piece of the designer series paper, which this is from, let me grab the pack. It's from the beautiful Boca 6 by 6 designer series paper. And so you get different, all kinds of different colors with like either the watercolory wash on the back or like the Boca dots on the other side. So I've chosen to use the Balmy Blue. And that is 2 by 5 1/4. And then, of course, I've got my largest nested die, and that is scored at, I think it's about, let me look on my little measure. I think it's just like 1 inch. Yeah, it's scored in 1 inch to kind of give me that flat fold there. And then, of course, an envelope. And then this is the piece that I cut off of that card base. So you can see where this would make it like the full card. And I've just removed that because we're not using it. Okay. So let's start with a little stamping. Oh, and then here, so I brought this little guy in. So I have already stamped and die cut this out so you don't have to watch me do that. And let me pull in the dies so I can share with you how I did that. Okay. So what I did was I first stamped this image on white cardstock, and then I took this die and ran it through the cotton emboss machine to die cut it out, and ended up with a piece with still solid cardstock in here. Then I took this die and put that in the space to kind of like lined up my little leaves there. So I knew where it was kind of die cutting out. And then I put some washi tape there to kind of hold it in place and ran that through the die cutting machine. And then that leaves me with this beautiful piece here. Now I went ahead and already used the Wink of Stella on those little tips, which you'll see the reflection and a little bit of shimmer. It's just really subtle, but I went ahead and did that so you didn't have to watch me do every little um, leaf there. Goes back in the sleeve. Okay, so we've got that piece already ready to go. The stamps that I'm using, I'm going to use the little leaf stamp for some extra decoration. And then because this class is about heartfelt hugs, and sending love, especially this time of year after the holidays, sometimes it can be really isolating for people. So it's important to kind of reach out to people and just let them know, like, hey, I'm thinking of you. So I'm doing sending love. You're on my mind and in my heart. So we will start by stamping that. Let me take these guys off. So I'm going to do sending love, clean off my stamp with my chamois, and then we're going to do you're on my mind and in my heart. And trying to line it up. We're going to hope for the best here because my phone is literally right over top of where I need to be. So that's pretty good. So I was just hovering a little bit there. And then I did some little stamping of some stems just in the corner piece here. So I'm going to do that same thing on this card. Okay, so I've got that piece. And while I'm at it, I'll go ahead and do some on my envelope too. Just make a little border on the fold of the envelope and give a little bit of impression on the front too. Okay, this card is ready to come together. So I've already done this die cut. We'll put that around. Okay, so one of the tricks here, let me get up back in the, I'm gonna go ahead and shut this so I don't set anything in it. One of the tricks you want to do is you want to go ahead and put your designer series paper on first. So you have to determine whether you want like the watercolory side or the bokeh side. I'm going to use the bokeh dots on mine. So I'm just going to put some liquid Tombow, and this was like clogged on me earlier, so we'll see how it works. It seems to be coming out pretty good right now. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put that on my card front, the flap. And then we're going to go ahead and put the ribbons. So I've been doing the ribbons like this at class because the ladies find that it's much easier for them to tie. So I always want to make things easier for those attending class. So what I'm going to do, oh, for heaven's sake, I've got the little tape stuck to my fingers here. So when I do this technique, I like to use Scotch tape to fasten it behind. So I'm just going to determine where I want that on my card front and flip that over. And then I'm going to come in with some Scotch tape and just glue that end down and then do the same thing on the other side. Okay. This is where this piece comes in because now, and being that I used some Scotch tape, I'm going to go ahead and use my seal on this. We're going to go ahead and just center that so you've got a nice frame of the balmy blue around it. And then it covers that up so you don't see that it's not continuous, and it's just much easier to create a knotted ribbon. So then this next step, we're going to take, you can see there's like a front and a back side to this. Like this is the back side of the die, and you can see that the perforations are kind of like popped up a little more. This is the side you want with the stitching. So you're going to take and fold that down on the score line. Let me come around here. So we're going to want to make a hook so that it is fastened behind this piece. Okay. So what I'm going to do is put my adhesive on the backside. Because this is a movable flap, I'm going to use my seal. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of space that, make sure it's not covering my sentiment, and tuck that behind so it gives me my little flap there. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some more adhesive on here. Okay, and we'll fold that back down. Then I'm going to bring this in, and I'm just going to center that within the borders of my card. Here we go. Okay, that's coming together nicely. So now that I've got the fold part done, then I'm going to go ahead and take this piece that I've already die cut and get that little added element right on the front of my card. And to put this on, I'm just going to put some little dots of the Tombow liquid glue. Just kind of going around here, kind of scarce. Don't need a lot on here, but I just want to get in some spots to make sure it has a good adhesion, if that's a word. I don't know what it's today. Okay, then I'm going to just take that and line that up with the bottom of my label and press that in place. Okay. Then I'm going to take the smaller piece of ribbon. So this ribbon, this one's probably like a 3.5, 4-inch cut, just a little smaller. And I'm going to slide that under that ribbon and then just tie a simple knot. The great way, like doing your ribbons like this with your bows or knots, I guess you'd say, is that it gives you the flexibility to shift it. So if you wanted it closer to this or center it or over to the side, you could do whatever. Oh, my scissors aren't over here. Good gracious. Let me grab these little ribbon scissors. I really didn't have everything here that I needed. I've got to restock my video filming station, I suppose. Okay. All right, there we go. So there is our first project. I hope you like that. I hope that it's giving you a different idea. Oh, there's a piece of my hair. Okay. Giving you just a different fold. It's something fun. It's a way to use your die cuts to create a fun fold, a fun little flap there, to send and just really brighten somebody's day. So that's our first one. I'm going to take and move those aside, and let me get the supplies for our next project. Okay, so this next fold that we're going to do is like a back flip fold. Okay, so it pops back like this, and then the front of your card opens up. Okay, everything is flush to the card. There isn't any dimensionals or anything on here. One of the key things to keep in mind is when you're putting this die cut on your card, that you just want to put the adhesive behind this little edge here, not on the whole thing, otherwise it's going to stick to your card. You want that piece to be movable. Okay, let me share with you what we're using. I'll just kind of set that over here to the side. So we're using some iridescent rhinestones for our gems. We're using Night of Navy ink. I've used the stylish stitch shapes, and I've grabbed the third down circle size and die cut that out of the white cardstock. The stamp set that I'm using is the Peace on Earth, which I think is on the last chance list. I think it's been moved to last chance, possibly. This is a great set. It's great for some holiday things, but it's got a lot of all year round things that you can use. And I grabbed the Big Hugs for a Good Friend. I love that sentiment. I'm also using the Sending Love for the inside. And then another stamp set that I grabbed was the Nature Symphony, which is a new stamp set in the January through April occasions catalog. And I grabbed this particular image right here because I felt like it really complemented the stamp set, and I'm going to use that on the envelope. This stamp set, it does come with a set of dies. I'm not using that set of dies today, but it is a nice stamp set with imagery and some great texture pieces. And then some nice oh my gosh, sentiments. I like the To a Great Guy. We don't have many like guy things like sentiments like that to, send a card to a man. So we're using this stamp set. And then my die cut piece that I've die cut out of the Night of Navy, I use this die, and this is from the Greenery Lane dies. We're using the stamp set on our next project, but I'm not using those. I'm using the sentiments and stuff on another project, but this is a stamp set and die bundle. And also with this particular bundle, there is washi tape. And if you know, in the big catalog, we have the Extraordinary Flora stamp set with the washi tape, and then the die cuts out all the images, so you can see some of these guys here. Let me take them out. So here you can see I've made some die cut pieces, and this is the washi tape. So I just put the washi tape on white cardstock and then die cut it out, and I get these great pieces to add on to my card. So the washi tape does all the work for you. Well, and the dies. So you put the washi tape on white cardstock and then use these individual dies to die cut them out on your cut emboss machine. So just a little side note there. So I grabbed that die out of there, and I also took the little mini flowers. I love that they gave us 6 different little mini flowers in here. So I was able to do a lot at the same time because I was using 2 on each card. Okay. So the supplies we have in our project, let's see, we've got our basic white envelope. we've got a piece of Night of Navy, and let me explain this cut to you and the scoring. So it is 5.5 wide, but 7.5 long. Okay. It started out as 8.5, and I cut an inch of it off. So for me, when I was doing these and prepping for the class, I went ahead and cut the half a sheet of cardstock. And then I went and go ahead and score. I made my 4.25 inch score line. So I get the center point of my card, which that's important. So I'm going to fold that. So I've got my center fold. I'm trying to explain these folds as we go along before I get into the supplies, just so you can understand that process. So I've made the fold, and then what I did was I cut an inch off of the front, so it leaves that open flap there. And then I went and scored an inch, so you can see the score line there. And that is going to give us, so you could actually take and fold it back when you're creating your card, because you're going to want it to move backwards. That's what's going to pop the card open. It's going to have like a little hinge effect. Okay, so it's strictly an 8.5 by or 8.5 by 5.5 piece of cardstock. Took an inch, 1 inch cut off the end, and then scored at 4.25, and then scored at 1 inch to get my fold marks. Okay. Then we've got some basic white, and we have two pieces, and they are 3 1/8 by 5 3/8. So a little different measurement. What I normally do is like in 1/4 inches, but this is an eighth, because as you can see on the example, we get a little closer, there's just a slight layer here. So I've got the Night of Navy, then the white, then the Designer Series paper. I just felt having that layer there created just a little extra something for the card, instead of just putting that Designer Series paper right on the card front. So you will have just a very thin layer. Then you're going to have a piece of another piece of basic white, and this one's going to be 7/8 inches by 5 3/8. And this will be under your layer for this little piece of Designer Series paper. Then the Designer Series paper came from the True Blue Florals, which is part of the product of the month for December and still available last I checked. So you've got two pieces of Designer Series paper. This one is cut at 3 by 5.25. And you've got this one cut at 3/4 inch by 5.25. Then I've die cut a stitch shape out of basic white. Die cut the greenery piece, or in this case, bluery piece. I know that's not a word, but the blue piece of the stems. So I cut that out of Night of Navy using the greenery lane dies. And then I went ahead and die cut the little balmy blue flowers, and I've got the gems already on those, and you'll have those on the glue dots ready to go. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is I cut the stem in half, and I used a piece of it on my front, and then I used a piece of it on the inside. Right? So I'm going to show you where I cut it, and you can cut it wherever you like. I'll try to get up here to the camera and still be able to see. So I snipped it right there. And then I came around and kind of followed this leaf there. Okay, so I've got that piece for my front. And just clean up your lines there a little bit because you are disconnecting it. Okay, there we go. I'm going to do the same on this one. That looks pretty good. Okay. So I've got my two pieces for my card. I'm going to bring in my foam mat. Oh, I think I must have, I think I froze a little bit. My screen looked like it was locked. Okay. I'm not sure what you might have seen. I had a call coming in and I silenced my phone, but I think it stopped the recording. Okay, this was attached right here. And I detached it down here with my scissors and right up here to get your two pieces. Hopefully that's all that got messed up with the video. Sorry about that. I'll try to keep better track of if a call is coming in. I don't know why it didn't, I don't know why it didn't do that on my phone. It's a new phone, so who knows? Okay, so I'm going to bring this back in. Oh my goodness. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and stamp my big hugs for a good friend. Press that down, clean that one off. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in one of my white pieces, and this is going to go on the inside. So I'm going to do sending love on the inside. We'll go right there in the center. And then we'll bring in the envelope and that little stem that we took of the Nature Symphony and get that stamped a little bit. Let's see, this is the front of my, let's do some stems there. I'm going to tuck it in right here and do some stamping. Try to make it go different ways with my placement. I'm going to fill that up a little bit. So that gives me a little something on the back side there. Okay, I think that's all my stamping. So I'm going to go ahead and shut the ink pad. And we're going to go ahead and put this card together. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put my inside layer in. And for this one, you are using your score line and the fold line as your perimeters of centering this piece of cardstock. Okay, and it's got a very thin margin, so you just got like 1/8 of an inch around there. Okay, then I'm going to come in with my designer series paper pieces. And you can choose which side you want to use. You might decide that you want this piece on the front as opposed to this pattern. Totally up to you. You will have those choices to make as you're creating. We're supposed to get a little bit of snow today. We're skating by here. We're like midway through January. It's not been too terribly bad. But I did see some severe cold was coming next week. So, okay. And then you've got the decision here to make whether you want this side or this side. I'm going to go with this side. And like I said before, you've got a very thin margin. So when you are layering this, it's going to be just a hint of white that's coming around there. Just enough to make it pop a little bit. So see that? Very thin. Okay. So then I'm going to go ahead and put these on the front of my card. Okay. Down. And then the next one, a slim layer, we're going to put on the bend of that little side fold. And just watch, if you're using this side, there is some directional to the paper. So you don't want to put your flowers on upside down. You want to make sure that the stem is down and the blossom side is up. And you're just tucking that. right in that little frame. And again, it's going to be a tight little frame, just a pop of color there. Okay, so now you've got the basis of your card ready to go. And we're going to come in and put our sentiment on there. Okay, so remember, I want to put it here. So I just want to put adhesive on this part. That's it. Okay, so I'm going to flip it over, kind of with my finger here, make my mark. I'm going to use some seal. Go. And that's all I'm putting adhesive on, just that little edge. So that acts as your hinge. Okay. Now I've got that open. I'm going to go ahead and put this piece in. So I'll put a little bit of Tombow on there. Okay. Tuck that on. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and shut that and put this one on the front side. And keep in mind, I'm just going to glue right here because all this is going to be free. So I just want to put adhesive on this slim area that's going to attach to the label. So just be mindful that when you're putting it together, think about how you want to put it together and place it. So then that's going to show you where you want to put adhesive on it. Otherwise, you're going to have adhesive on everything here. It's going to want to stick to the front of your card. And you want that movement to happen. So then I'm going to take my die cut little flowers and put one just right there. Oh my gosh, this card is so cute. I had so much fun creating these cards with the fun folds of them, just like, or as I call them, cozy folds, because they're just a little kind of fold. They're not, I hope they're not too tricky. I hope that you really enjoy them. Okay, so that's our second card. We've got that hinge fold. So hopefully you like that one too. All right, let me clean this up and I'll come back with our next project. Okay. All right, so this is our third project. Look at this cute little one, Love and Hugs. Flips open. Here we go. This would be a great little Valentine too. You could easily make this a Valentine, or you can just, send it to someone who needs a little love and hugs. Now, what I'm going to do on this example, so on this one, I did the bubble bath ink on there, and I'm going to try it with the pool party on this instead. I think that might pop a little bit more, and so I think that's what the route I'm going to go with, the one that I'm showing you. So we've got this little hinge fold, and then that 1 inch strip that we cut off there, we're going to use here, and I'll explain that a little bit more to you. Okay, and everything is kind of flush to the card, no dimensionals. So set that there. Let me share with you what we're using. We're using some pastel adhesives, and I grabbed the pink ones out of there, the little bubblegum ones. The Greenery Lane stamp set that I showed you earlier, we're using the Love and Hugs out of there. The set of dies that I've used for the Love and Hugs circle there, I used this one out of the Spotlight on Nature dies. And I believe this is on the last chance list. It's in the catalog, but for some reason it's moved to the last chance list. So if you don't have this set of dies, it's 2 series of circles. So there's actually total of 12. There's a total of 12 different circles. So there's another sheet and they all come in these 3 different patterns. I've used these quite a bit. Okay, then the next one that we're using is 11 Courage. This was in the fall mini catalog. It has since moved to the last chance list, and I think it's actually on sale. It's a great hope and encouragement set, but I went ahead and grabbed the little heart out of here. I thought that looked really cute with this card here. So, and this is a red rubber cling stamp set. And then the embossing folder I'm using is the Hearts of Love 3D embossing folder. It's new in the January through April mini catalog. And you're going to use this folder with the specialty plate because it is a 3D folder. So you're going to want the gray specialty plate to use that. And I'm going to grab one of the minis so I can share with you on that because we didn't really talk about that, but a lot of these products that I'm using are out of the mini catalog, so I'll share it with you in here in just a little bit. So this is our supplies. So we've got a basic white envelope, and I've gone ahead and embossed that. So that's just some fun. It's going differently than obviously it should go this way, but I thought that was going to be fun texture for the back, and it really complements this card. So I went ahead and embossed that. And then I've got my pool party base. So again, it's 5.5 by 8.5. And I went ahead and cut off a 1-inch piece. So this was your 5.5 by 8.5. I cut a 1-inch piece off. Okay. And then I scored it at 4.25. That's going to get me my fold. So this is going to fold just like this. So your traditional card, it would have been like that. We've cut this piece off to give us a fun flap right there. And then we're going to take that piece and use it to create our hinge. So this was the piece I cut off. This is a smaller because I had to cut it down. So you're just going to create the hinge out of this little piece, which will start the mechanism for your card. The folding mechanism, I should say. And then we've got a piece of basic white. Excuse me. This is 4 by 5.25. And then you've got a piece of bubble bath. I've got to get a drink or I'm gonna start coughing. A piece of bubble bath that is 3.75 by 5. And as you can see, I've gone ahead and embossed that for us. We've got our not stitched, our Spotlight on Nature die. So we've got that fun texture around there that's already die cut out of the bubble bath. And then I've created 2 fun circles, and I did this just by using the 1.75-inch circle punch, and then I used a 2.25, I believe, and just kind of made these fun little rings that I think add just a little extra element to there, some kind of texture, a little bit of a break in the color, so you don't have the bubble bath on bubble bath there. So that's what those. You'd have 2 of those in your kit. And then you've got a little piece of embossed white designer series paper, and this is 7/8 of an inch by 7/8 of an inch by that isn't that is not I'm looking at the wrong one. I'm like, no, that's not correct. It's 7/8 of an inch by 2 3/8. I was looking at the measurements for the last card we did, and I'm like, that is not 5.25. There's just no way. Okay. And then I've got my little sequence here for the project. All right, so let's go ahead and do a little stamping. Let me put this right here. Yeah, I woke up this morning and I was just like, oh, good grief, I don't know what's going on with my voice. Just like feeling it. And I was like, I really wanted to, you know how when you plan on doing something and you're like, okay, so my day has changed. And I'm like, I really wanted to film the video today because I'm finishing the kits and so that everybody can pick them up and then you can craft along this weekend if you want. And so I really wanted to get that done today. So I appreciate you kind of bearing with me and I hope my voice isn't too problematic. But I was like, I definitely just don't want to be on camera because, well, I've got the hair up. It's just up in a messy bun and all the things. And that's just better if you're just watching my hands here. Okay, I digress. All right, so I'm going to bring in my foam mat. And like I mentioned before, I'm going to stamp this one in the pool party where the example is done in the bubble bath. So we're just going to see how that looks. I think that's going to actually create a nice contrast. So we'll see. See what you think. See, I think it's going to kind of go together. So I'm just going to go with that one for this. Clean that off. And then on the inside, I had done a couple pool party, little hearts. I had words were hard. Um, so I'm gonna do Yeah, clean this, and I'm gonna do bubble bath. Let's do that. So that's kind of fun. Okay, something different. I didn't do that on my example, but this will change it up and create something a little different. And let's see, do I want to put a hard note? No, I'm just going to leave this embossed. I'm not going to stamp on the envelope. Okay, so I've got that done. Oh, I forgot to come back in. You know what? We are using the white craft pad on this one. And that one I did not share with you. Okay, so I'll go ahead and show you what we're doing with that. Let me grab a piece of scrap paper here. Okay, so we're going to take our white craft pad. Mine's very well loved, so I have to be gentle opening it up, otherwise it will fly right out of here. And I'm going to take, so the hearts on there were like they were popping. You can see that they're hearts, but I wanted to give them just like a little bit more um pop. And you can see these are a little, so you can put them side by side. This is like a little whiter. It kind of highlights them a little bit. And what I did, how I did that was I just took the white craft pad and I ran it across the front of my embossing piece. And I probably need to, oh, there it's coming. I was like, just wasn't pressing firm enough. So there we go. So it's a great way to have your images pop out a little bit more on your embossing folders when you're doing those designs, just by using that white craft pad. All right, we're going to go ahead and create our hinge and get this card going. So I want to, as you are looking at this, you're just wanting like a couple inches over. So you can just eyeball it. There's not like, I don't have a measurement here. I've not scored this. I'm just going to be like, okay, that's about an inch and I want to fold it over. So you're just going to create your hinge fold. Just going to fold that over like about an inch tab there. Use your bone folder to give yourself a good crease there. All right. And so we're going to put that so that it lines up with the edge of our card. Let me open this up so I can kind of share with you. And I'm going to use my stamp and seal for this. And what I want to do is just I'm going to fold that shut and I'm going to come to the center of my card and right to the edge and press that down. So that's going to create my hinge. Then I'm going to take this white piece that we stamped on for our inside and go ahead and get some adhesive on there. Flip that over, and then we're just going to center that in the frame of the card on the inside. Okay. All right, so now we're ready to put the adhesive on the front. So keep in mind, this is not going to be adhered down. So you do not want to put adhesive on that portion of the embossed piece. So I needed to take a drink there. Okay. So the best way you can do it, this is how I did it. And I'll leave that in the frame there. So I kind of set it on my card and realized, okay, I want a white frame here, and kind of center it within the card front. All right. So I'm just like looking at this. I'm like, I don't want to put adhesive from here over. So what I'm going to do is just kind of draw myself a line and then go over this way, knowing that this is where I want to put my adhesive, not down that edge. Okay. And then when you come back in the front, you're just going to center that again so that it's a nice frame on your card. Color going around. Okay. Now we're going to create our little flap. So we want to put this little guy on here. Now this might be longer than what you need. So you can snip it down some. Depends on where you did, your fold. So I'm going to take like a little, I don't know, quarter of an inch off of there. Yeah, because this is going to be covered, so it's not a huge deal, but you'll just want to trim it off a little bit. Okay. All right, so we've got that on our hinge, right? And then the next part of this is so you're going to build your layers for your little flap. Now keep in mind, you're going to see this on the back side, okay? So you want to, which, you know what, I'm thinking about this. Hang on a second, I've got another idea. Some of those circles that I grabbed out of here. I could put, I don't know if I like that actually. I was going to put that there to kind of cover it, but I don't know. No, never mind. It's okay. I'm just thinking out loud here. Okay, so what I would suggest is you put your adhesive on here, not on these, not on this label or this die cut circle because you're going to have adhesive everywhere you don't need it. So kind of watch my process here, if you will. So I'm going to put some adhesive on that flap. And I'm going to lay my circles down. These are just kind of in here, kind of whimsical. They're not, it's not like rocket science. Just, I just got them whimsically on there. No, no, precise way you have to do it. So see, there's just kind of there to create a texture and just a different element, and then everything will adhere to this. That way you don't have adhesive on all this and it's sticking to your card front, okay? Then we're going to take your pick tool and grab these little gems. And you can put them wherever you might like. Okay. Well, I might stick it there if it wants to come off my take your pick tool. Okay. So there is our third card. So you've got this fun hinge fold. Really easy just by using your one piece of basic size cardstock and you're taking that inch off to create your hinge fold. All right, I'll be right back with our next project and those supplies. Okay, I thought I'd pop in the mini catalog here. So in case you haven't seen this, our new mini catalog is out, came out January 6th, and it runs through the end of April. Excuse me. Um, oh, that's so weird how I'm watching the camera and it's like when I put it there, it kind of zooms out. I don't know what it's doing. Okay. Anyway, this is a copy of the new mini catalog. Yeah, look at how that just did that. I didn't even move the camera. I don't know what it's doing. Interesting. Anyway, in case you have not seen this, it is filled with wonderful, wonderful projects inside and all kinds of fun products. If you're a scrapbooker or you like to use our memories kits to make cards, you'll have a beautiful selection of those products in here. So you can view the catalog online. All the items are available to look online, or if you'd like a actual paper copy of it. I do not know what my camera is doing at all because it is just doing that on its own. Um, that's so funny. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Anyway, it's a great selection of products just for the spring, for the Valentine's Day. This is the Nature's Symphony that I kind of shared with you earlier. That's got some beautiful designer series paper in there. This little sweet collection, the Sweet Bugs bundle. This has been hugely popular in these great little ladybugs. So cute. A boardwalk fun, these little woolly friends, and this great tulip set. This one is a gears and textures. I think this is going to be great for masculine cards. I've gotten that one. I'm excited to play with that one. Here's the greenery lane that I was sharing with you about. That is so strange how my camera keeps doing that. Anyway, just some really great products in here. If you'd like a copy of the catalog, just let me know. So I'm just kind of, there's one set in the back here. Oh, I must have already passed it. These great little gems. These are wonderful too. There's sparkle with like a low profile. Oh, this prayers and promises stamp stuff. This is wonderful. This I think is a must-have. Very good for like comforting, uplifting thoughts. Really like this one. And this Aspen Grove is nice too with the trees. So anyway, that's our new mini catalog that's out and available. There's also a ton of things available that were released online too. Okay, this is our next project that we're doing. And we've got this fun fold, just like a flat fold, taking a piece of the card, turning it and making a fold. Super cute, very easy to do. This just has a winter feel to it. So, hey, we all know we're here in Ohio. We're going to be seeing snow for probably till March. And, sometimes we see it in April and May, and let's be honest. Now, granted, there's usually daffodils that are blooming and we see some snow flurries. That does happen. So I just use this beautiful paper with these snow-covered pines. I thought would be great for a card to send in January and February. All right, so I'm going to set that up here. The greeting, the sentiment here with the labels, they are popped up with some dimensionals. Otherwise, I put everything flush to the card. The stamp set I'm using is Snowflake Kisses. This was in our winter catalog, and it's carried over. These sentiments are great to use all winter long. There's actually some that, the sending warm hugs, lots of love, you're one of a kind. Those things can be sent really any time of year, and the rest ones are kind of geared more towards colder weather or warm heart, all kinds of like hugs and love and all the things. So I've chosen to use the sending warm hugs. And may the chill of winter be warmed by love and friendship, kind of going along with our Heartfelt Hugs theme in this class. The die set that I'm using is, no, I've got so many in here that I think it's textured notes. Yes, I have so many extras. When I cut a bunch, I just put them in the flap, so I have them. Textured notes dies. This is a great set of dies with the different textures that you have on all these rectangles. So I've chosen this second one in here. That's the one I die cut out of, or using, I should say. Pretty Peacock is the ink we're using. And then I'm using some Pretty Peacock ribbon. Okay, so our supplies, we've got our white envelope. We've got, let's see. So we've got our card base. This is what it used to be before I cut it. Okay, so we've got 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4.25. And then I have cut off, let me look because I don't want to tell you the wrong measurement. I have cut off 2.75 by 4.25. Okay. So what you're going to do is you'll put, if you're wanting to recreate this card, you'll make your score line because I find that gives a good reference point. And then you'll go over on your cutter and you'll go over 2.75. And then you're going to come down to your score line and then just cut up that. So this is going to give your piece to create your fold or to help create your the flap on your fun fold. Then you're going to take and turn this one and fold it at the score line. But that. See, this is going to be our layer that goes right there. So we took off the front of the card. We're going to use that as a layer. All right. Then we've got a piece of Pretty Peacock that is 4 by 5.25. We've got a piece of basic white that is 3.75 by 5. And we've got two pieces, and I'm going to. I could feel the sneeze coming. I knew it was coming. Oh my goodness, we've got two pieces of designer series paper. If you're using designer series paper that has a directional on it, you definitely want to make sure you're paying attention how you're cutting. But for this one, so I cut it so that it is 2.5 by 4. And then this one is 2.5 by 4 as well. And you've got this pattern on the other side, which we don't want to use. We want it had to be complementary. Okay, and then I have a pretty peacock label and then a basic white label. And I know many of you are like, Christina, how come you didn't cut that out of here? I don't know. I didn't do it that way though. Every other time I do it that way. All right, so we're going to do a little stamping. And this one is going on. So we're going to stamp on these two pieces. You know what? I didn't grab any trees for the front of this one. Let me see on my, hmm. I'm looking on my shelf right here to see if I've got a little stamp. I'm gonna grab this. It's a retired stamp set. I just grabbed one from the other side. I was like, oh, I need something to put on the envelope. I didn't think about that. Okay, so we're gonna do May the Chill of Winter Be Warmed by Love and Friendship on our label. Okay. And then on the inside, we're gonna do Sending Warm Hugs. Okay. And let me grab a little, we'll just do a little pine tree here. Grab a little block. I feel like you got to have something on the inside. There we go. You got to get a drink. Okay. Two little trees there too. That'll help the card. Oh my gosh, words are hard today. Coordinate. Okay, we're ready to put this little guy together. I mean, it's easy peasy like that. Let me get my scissors. So for this sentiment, this oh my gosh, label, you want to cut it in half. Okay, so we've got two pieces of that. And we're going to take our adhesive. And there's a right and a wrong side to each of these with the texture. You'll be able to tell it by looking at it. You just want to layer that. So you get that nice little edge of pretty peacock there. So it gives the illusion of a larger label behind it. Okay, there we go. So we've got our piece for the front. Then we're going to come in with our designer series paper. I had some Christmas cards and winter cards that I received in the mail that I was going to share on the video, but I think I'll probably do that on the next one because I really don't want you to have to listen to my voice as I'm like, ugh, I don't know. I hope it's better tomorrow. Okay, then we're going to bring our folded card in and put some adhesive on that. Put on our card front piece. Yeah, I just hope my voice is better tomorrow because I've got to go take my parents to the doctors and appointments with them. So I need to be on point. I need to be, you know, able to chat and ask questions for them. So we're putting some adhesive just on the bottom side of it because keep in mind, you're gonna, oh my goodness. Thanks. Sorry about that. I hit the camera. You're going to you're going to want this to open, so you don't want to adhere it to the bottom of your card, which I actually should have put those layers in there first. Now that I'm thinking, because it's like white on white. Let me flip this open. Okay. We're going to put some Tombow adhesive there. We're going to build our layer on the inside. This will help that front piece pop more. And then our inside layer. And when you're making this card, if you're recreating on your own with this template, let me get that layered. You just want to make sure you're stamping your sentiment in the center or lower so that it'll be covered. You wouldn't want to stamp it over here because then it will take away from your card. Let me shut the ink here. And then I'm just going to take this ribbon and create a simple knotted little bow. Not so much a bow, it's more like a knot. I mean, because that's what it is. Knot. Clean up my little frayed part there. Okay, and then I'm going to put this on with dimensionals. And I'm using my little ends here, so we've got some little sections. Okay, get all those off. And we're going to center that between those layers, press that down, and then put a little adhesive here. Because I don't have my glue dots over here. Shocking, right? And then push that down for a little ribbon. Okay. I want to, there we go. Okay. So there is our fourth card. Let me move all this stuff aside here and bring the projects back in so you can get a closer look. Okay, so we've got these two are the same here, obviously. And then we've got these two where we did the pool party and the bubble bath. We've got this one. Go like that there. And then we've got this fun fold with our cute envelope. There we go, like that. So you should have a total of 8 cards that you've made in this class. I hope you've enjoyed these projects. Hope you enjoyed creating them as much as I enjoyed creating and designing them and then sharing them with you today. If there's any products that you saw used in today's video, you can shop my online store at stampingyoucrazy.stampinup.net. If you have an online rewards account, you do want to remember to opt in to get the rewards so you earn those perks. You'll earn 10% back on your purchases. You can also, like I said, qualify for a bonus box if your order is $50 or more, and you can pick the product of the month if it's over 75. Please keep in mind if you're using rewards, say you're trying to qualify for that $75 product of the month. If you use rewards and it takes you down below the $75, you will have to add something to it to get back up to that point because it will then no longer know that like, oh, she doesn't qualify for the product of the month anymore because maybe your order went down to $70. So just keep that in mind when you're using your rewards. If you have any questions about anything that I shared with you today, I'm happy to help. So just reach out and let me know. And I thank you for your patience today as I got through this with this, voice that I woke up to today and all the things. So, all right. Well, until next time, I'm so glad you joined me today for this craft along class. I hope that you enjoyed the projects. I'd love to hear what your favorite one was, which one you enjoyed, or which technique or the layout. I always love to hear your feedback from the projects. So, all right. Until next time, happy stamping, ladies.